In this video, I'm just going to go over some of the basics on this, what to expect for this assignment, and just some follow-up stuff that may be overlooked as we get into the rush of the lab. So anyways, going down this list, inventory, you're going to use the tally sheet. So there's another little video about the tally sheet that you can check out. You're going to do this form on every site that you go to, so 4 different forms for 4 different sites. Okay, the sketch. So you're going to draw in, because typically a sketch can be more representative, just to get an idea on the vertical diversity within a forest, as opposed to photographs. Understory species, I'm looking for not advanced regen, but shrubs, herbaceous stems, ferns, mosses. So the plants, not the trees, not the advanced regen that's going to take over the forest. That's an important point to put in up here in your inventory, okay, if they're trees, because that will tell us about the future forest. This is just species to help us kind of with indicators as far as what type of forest we're looking at. Wildlife observations, you're probably not going to see wildlife, so you're looking for signs, okay, signs of who uses that. Type of forest, and also in the bird book there's information showing what species of birds utilize what part of the forest, and that's important information to be observing here. Okay, succession, so you're using your lecture notes and forest stand dynamics on reserve in the library to help with this information. Topography, we want to know the topography. If it's really flat, tells us a good chance that there's probably been a plowed field at one time and it's been reinvaded by trees. A lot of pit and mound, indicators of older growth or undisturbed forests. Evidence of microsites. Could be encouraging or limiting if we have vernal pools, or if we have areas that's stony, or anywhere that might encourage trees to germinate or not. Looking for little signs like that, because that might be an indicator of how the forest may begin to change. On this page, some of this information. Right here, you've got this species composition, and this is typical forestry FRI, forest resource inventory information. Okay, so this is typically how you would interpret a forest stand based upon the species. So you'll notice there's only 3 species there. And there's probably more than those species in the forest, but these are the predominant species in the forest, and the ones that are of most, in forestry terms, of most economical significance. So that's why we would have just a limitation here. So you'll probably find a point where you need to draw a line as far as what is present in the forest, and just to keep it kind of simplified a bit, okay, go with the dominant trees found in the forest, and I want you to separate them out, and that's why on the tally sheet you've got to separate out to the different stratum layers. What may mislead you here, and I don't mean to do that, is depending on the site you have, you may not have an intermediate stratum. Okay, you may only have an overstory or one canopy layer, and you may have an understory. Other sites, you may only have the overstory and nothing else. Other sites still, you may have more than 3 canopy layers. You should have more than 3 canopy layers when you get into old growth. Okay, so I'd like you to separate them out. And let's say that this one here was the overstory. So what this means is we have poplar, and 7 is 70% of that forest canopy is poplar. White pine, there was 20%, sorry, 2, and sugar maple, there was 10%. Okay, so all that is 7, 2, and 1 equals 10. We've dropped the zeros, but that's representing of 100% of the trees. 70% was poplar, 20% was white pine, 10% was sugar maple. Okay, going into the understory, you would expect that the canopy is going to change, so to more shade tolerant trees. So maybe we had sugar maple 8 and beech 2, for instance. 80% sugar maple, 20% American beech. Okay, and so you're just getting that information based on your tally that you did from your circle plots, and averaging out of the total trees within that canopy layer, what was the percentage. Okay, and that is an FRI reading to tell you what species we have there. Estimated age of the forest stand, I'm not looking for an exact age. I'm looking for 20-year increments. Okay, so let's say it's 0 to 20 years old. Okay, on a stand initiation site, it wouldn't be uncommon to have tall trees and small trees and all be within a relatively same close age range, and that's an indicator of that forest type. As you go into old growth, 20 years over a 600-year-old tree really doesn't make a big difference, but when it's young and developing, that's very significant. Okay, so I just want an age range, something like that, 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and so on. Okay, you use big blue for the forest type, what the forest type is, what the forest succession stage is. And again, with both of these, you're just going to prove, you're trying to prove with the evidence that you see from the forest and to justify why it is this successional stage and why it is this forest type. Compare soils and topography information. So we're just comparing the soils and the topography to explain why the changing conditions may affect infiltration and drainage and moisture and whatnot. And this is some of the most important stuff. Why we're doing all of this. It's to help us understand what ecology can tell us about the development of the forest. At present, that's what we're doing today. You are gathering the data of the present forest. Okay, so you're going to provide in the report presently what you found. And based on what you found today, where has this forest come from? The past forest. Okay, how did it get here? How did the overstory that you see today originate? Based on the species that are there, based on their sylvics, why are those trees in the overstory? Okay, and then based on the understory, what you see developing, and also the overstory, the trees that are there, where is this forest going? In 50 years' time, how will it look? Okay, and so you're just, the report is going to break all of that down. So you're going to explain what you see today, how wildlife utilizes forest, where has it come from, and where is it going.